South Australia has announced a $100 million support package for business and weekly support payments for workers in the state's regions after recording one new local COVID case. Joel Philp is with me live. Joel, South Australians complying with the lockdown so far. What are you seeing?
Yeah, they are, KG. The police say that compliance has been good here and that South Australians are doing the right thing. Several small police stations in Adelaide have actually been shut down so that officers can focus on the lockdown. But there has been some good news for the business community and regional South Australians today. We've seen cash grants of up to $3,000 for small to medium-sized businesses who can demonstrate a 30% reduction in turnover. And on top of that, $1,000 grants for sole traders and also people living in regional areas who are workers will be eligible for the same cash payments that the Commonwealth is offering up to the Adelaide metropolitan area hotspots. Take a listen to what the Treasurer had to say when making these announcements earlier.
This is the government's decision in relation to a lockout of duration of 7 days. We obviously hope that's the end of the lockdown for 7 days, but however, should it be continued, as has occurred in New South Wales and in Victoria, the government will make further announcements in relation to levels of ongoing assistance after that.
SA Health is particularly concerned about two exposure sites. One of them is, two sites I might say. One of them is the Greek on Halifax restaurant in Adelaide on July 17. The second one is the Tenafeate Creek Wines in Yattalunga on July 18. Those are two particular sites that SA Health say there could indeed have been significant exposure at, and we saw that the 5th and 6th cases related to these outbreaks came indeed from that Greek on Halifax restaurant. We found out some details about the 6th case of the Modbury cluster today from the state's Chief Health Officer. Take a listen.
In terms of our new case, it's a woman in her 20s and she is a staff member at the Greek on Halifax and was working on that Saturday night.
Today's press conference was mostly dominated about concerns that testing sites in Adelaide were struggling to cope with reports of people sleeping in their cars and waiting up to 12 hours for testing. The Premier said that it's worth noting there are 86 test clinics across the state and that not everyone needs to congregate to the 24-hour Victoria Park one here in Adelaide. Also, an urgent testing clinic has been set up for people in Adelaide and will be set up today for those who are legally required to get tested, who indeed have been ordered into quarantine, for example. And we are also seeing here today, the city of Tea Tree Gully is listed as a new exposure site, which has just come through in the last little while. There are 400 people that work there, and many of them will be ordered into quarantine. It's not clear at this stage how that cancer will be able to function.
I know that this has been extraordinarily inconvenient for people. Even though we massively increased our capacity, we had an even larger surge in the demand. And so today we'll be pulling every single lever possible to increase the capacity to provide that testing service.
KG, we'll see what tomorrow brings and if there are more cases related to this Modbury cluster.